Ross, it's been a little while since we've spoke. How are you? How are you and your family doing through all of this?
Oh, we're fine. I think everybody's dealing with this in their own way, and I'm getting to spend a lot of time with family. And if there's any silver lining to this, it's that I think we're all getting a little more time with the people we love.
You and I've not asked you this before. When you were a student, you obviously were aware of the Chicago Bulls and their great success. Have you had a chance, along with the rest of America, to watch any of The Last Dance over the last several weeks?
I've watched everything. I'm not caught up the last two episodes, so don't spoil anything for me. But I'd say if you're my age, Michael Jordan was everybody's hero. Everybody wanted to be like Mike, and boy, back then when the Bulls were on, you stopped everything to watch Michael Jordan, and I don't think that's changed. And this is a great reminder to me how much of a competitor he was, and just the greatness that we saw every day when we got a chance to watch him.
Coach, he was worried that people, when they saw this, were going to think less of him, that they weren't going to like him. That hasn't occurred to me. I just think we all see what a great competitor he was.
One of the things we talk about being a team leader with our team is not being afraid to tell other people when they need to do better. And we live in an age where we're so careful about what we say that sometimes leaders are afraid to tell someone else they need to work harder or anything like that. Michael was the ultimate leader because, he had friends, but you go to movies with good friends, you go to battle with good teammates, and Michael Jordan was a good teammate.
Oh, well put. All right, what have you and the coaches been doing the last several weeks? We've seen some noise out on the recruiting trail and some commitments to the program. What has the last month been like?
Well, I think it's kind of the same around the country. Is we don't have as much to do, so a lot of coaches are focused on recruiting. We're in a position this year where we're getting a lot done, but we're going to have to sign a smaller class this year, so we're being a little bit deliberate about who we take and where and when, and but we're working hard on it and making sure we're in contact with the right guys, and spending a lot of time on recruiting right now.
Are you scouting? Are you self-scouting from last year? Have you been breaking down a lot of tape as well?
Yeah, we're able to do some of that. It's hard to do it. We all kind of have to do it on our own right now until we're able to get the coaching staff together. But we already had been through our self-scout, kind of looking at what we need to do better and different from last year. And now we're kind of, starting to take a look preliminarily at opponents for next year. And I'm sure we'll continue to do that.
You've had a couple of new coaches that you added to the staff since the end of last season. One, Mike Dawson, I kind of say new because he was here a year or so ago. Have they been able to get moved and get themselves kind of situated in Lincoln during this off period?
They have. It's been a little bit awkward because we have a couple guys with new houses, and trying to get moved in and everything during this isn't real easy. Other thing with Mike in particular, he was in New Jersey where this hasn't been as easy to deal with. And I think he and his family were in quarantine in a house for, I want to say 6 weeks without leaving the house. So he was anxious to get back to Nebraska and be able to start doing some other things. And it was good for him to get to town, but it's been a little awkward getting everybody moved and ready to be in Lincoln.
Well, Coach, the last we heard from the conference is a June 1st, kind of an open date to bring people back and start having some team activities. If we play football in the fall on time, how much time do you think you need to get a football team ready to roll if we're going to get this thing underway when it's scheduled in September?
Well, there's a difference between what we can do and what's ideal, obviously. And they're talking about 4, 5, and 6 week models, and I think that's possible. Obviously, I don't think it's ideal. There's a lot of work that goes into getting guys physically and mentally ready to play football. As much as we can be doing right now, we're going to try to do so that we're more ready than other people. I think we've been doing a good job with that. I just think there's a lot of questions that still have to be answered, Greg. There's so many people with a hand in how this is going to look and work. Every governor in the country, every university president in the country, every AD in the country are all going to have a say in whether their institution plays football or not. And so there's a lot of people with hand in a cookie jar as far as making this decision. I think we need to be talking about how to get student athletes back to their campuses without risking infection in the communities, and the protocol for bringing guys back safely. Probably also what's the protocol when we inevitably have a kid or two that do test positive for this. So there's a lot of things and a lot of questions that need to be answered to make sure that when we do this, we do it the right way. And I think we're asking the right questions, but there's probably some more answers that we need to come up with before we move forward.
Ted Carter came out a week or so ago and said that his plan right now is to have the campus open and running in the fall. Have you had conversations much with him and or the Chancellor Ronnie Green here in the recent weeks?
Yeah, I've been on the phone with those guys a ton through this. I got to tell you, our leadership on our campus has been awesome. I think they've been careful and exercise caution to make sure that we're keeping the community and the state and the students safe. At the same time, I think they're optimistic and allowing us to do things to push forward and be the schools that is ready to compete. You know, I've said this, we want to play football selfishly as coaches and players because of it, and I know Nebraska wants it, but there's more at stake than that. There's a bunch of businesses around town. I've talked to all the owners that probably wouldn't flourish or maybe even be able to make it without home football games in Lincoln this fall. A lot of their revenue comes from that. You know, we make enough money as a university off every home game with a full Memorial Stadium. That's a huge part of our athletic budget. And I'm a little concerned about the other sports at the university and their ability to continue if we take a major budget hit without having home football games. So there's a lot at stake and a lot riding on this other than just wanting to play football. And I think it's important that we find a safe way to get it up and running so that we can support all those things.
How nervous, concerned are you in the condition of your team when you get them back on campus? Some of these young men have been home for a while, may not have access to a gym or a proper ability to work out. It's got to make you a little nervous, I would think. And you're not alone. Every coach in the country is dealing with this, but you got to be a little antsy to see these guys once again, aren't you?
You know, I think we're handling that as well as anybody. I'm really confident in our guys' conditioning right now and the fact that they've been able to continue to get work done. Obviously, that's a little bit easier here in Lincoln because this hasn't been as bad in Nebraska as some other places. But we have an idea with every single one of our student athletes what they're doing, where they're doing it, where they are, who they're in contact with. For the kids that stayed in town, we know what's going on with them. For the kids back home, we're trying to help them find solutions to stay in shape. And I think our kids will be ready to come back and practice for sure when the time's right. And especially if everything opens up on June 1st, that'll give us plenty of time to get a team ready to go through a camp.
We're visiting with Scott Frost here on Sports Nightly on the Husker Sports Network. Last weekend was graduation. I noticed 12 football players got their diploma. That's what it's all about, get these student athletes on campus and get them to work toward a degree. 2 of those were quarterbacks that were in your program at one point in time. Your room is not as full, and that particular room is not as full now as it was several months ago. How do you feel about the quarterback position now with what you know you're going to have in the fall?
We still feel great about it. You know, when you look where we came from with only 2 scholarship quarterbacks, one being a true freshman and one redshirt freshman on our team a couple years ago. Actually, Adrian and a walk-on and Andrew Bunch. And where we are now, we're in a lot better shape. I can't say enough good things about Noah Vedral, who chose to take a look at some other places. He's like a son to me, and I want what's best for him. Obviously, feel good about Adrian going forward and the progress that he's going to make. Luke McCaffrey had a really good freshman year and is turning into a fine quarterback that I think will be able to win a lot of games around here. Logan Smothers is already on campus and doing good things for us. So we're in good shape at that position. Obviously, you never want to lose anyone, but feel really good about the quarterback spot and the improvements to depth and talent that we've made at a lot of places.
Since we last spoke, the NFL draft took place. You had the Davis twins both get selected, one by a guy by the organization you know pretty well, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Mike Tomlin taking Carlos Davis. Your thoughts about the twins getting drafted?
Well, anytime kids from our program get a chance to chase their dreams, I'm happy for them and proud of them. So that I know the Davis twins will go and compete and do a good job. Great. We need more guys getting drafted from here, and that starts with recruiting. I feel like a lot of the kids that we've recruited over the last 2 cycles are going to be the type of players that have a chance to do that someday. We do a great job of developing talent once it's here and helping kids become all they can be. And I know that that's going to lead to more draft picks, but it's hard to win games in the Big Ten with 2 draft picks in 2 years. And I feel like we're well down the path to having more in the future, and hopefully more kids get a chance to do the same things that Davis twins are doing.
Well, Coach, we appreciate getting a little bit of your time to catch up, and hopefully June 1st the gates open a little bit and we can get some student-athletes back on campus and get working toward next fall. And trust me, you're going to want to see episode 7 of The Last Dance. It was my favorite episode, so go get caught up on that this week.
Boy, if we had a whole team of competitors that love to compete as much as Michael Jordan, it's tough to beat those type of teams. I'm just eating it up every time that's on, and I agree with what you said. I have more admiration for him now than I did then.